The German wise women have a very old tradition in Germany. We have a tradition that is more than 2000 years old. Nowadays, the wise women, they do 4 kinds of work. We work as healers, we work as counselors, we work as teachers, and we work as priests. In older times, in the times of our ancestors, German women were kind of different. Those women in those days, they were not like modern esoteric women. They were not clothed in white, running around, talking tenderly and softly about light and love. Those women were strong. Those women were powerful. Those women were bold. And they had a lot of official power, and they were held in high regard, and they dared to do a lot of things. These old wise women, that are our ancestors. I am a wise woman, and there are still some of them in Germany. Let me tell you a story about my great ancestors. This story is maybe a legend and maybe true. It happened 2000 years ago in Germany. In those old days, the country of Germany was just a forest. Our ancestors in those days, they had no tendency to build up big cities. They built up farms. And they did not like to have their neighbors too close to them. So you can imagine the country like this: forest, 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 farm, forest, 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 farm. That's how the country looked. And in those days, the old Romans, they were folks with culture. They had culture, and they had politics, and they had warriors, and they wanted to overtake the whole world that was known in those days. And so it happened that the Roman king Tiberius said to his own stepson Drusus, "Go to Germany and overtake that country for Rome." Drusus, he was a very, very good leader, and he was also a very good warrior. And so he took his men and he marched over to Germany, and he started overtaking the country. He marched in, and whenever he passed the area of a German tribe, they started to fight and to battle. But the Germans lost, and so he marched on. And another tribe fought against him and lost, and he marched on. And it seemed for a while as if nothing could stop him. He came pretty far into Germany. He came to the river Elbe, to a place that nowadays is called Magdeburg. Maybe in English you would say Magdeburg, I don't know, Magdeburg in Germany. The city of Magdeburg in those days did not exist. There was just forest. And there, the following thing happened. One day, Drusus was marching through the forest hunting alone. And while he was hunting in the forest, all of a sudden, a huge woman suddenly came up behind a tree. And she talked to him with a loud voice. And she said to him, "Till here and no farther, noble Drusus. Your days are counted." This frightened and scared him so much that in fact he ordered his troops to go home. And he wrote about that story in a letter to Tiberius, the king. And that's how we know about that story. He was so scared by this woman that he wanted to go home, just simply because she said so. But he couldn't make it. He died within the following 30 days still in Germany. He believed that this woman was a German goddess. I do not think so. I believe that was a German wise woman. And you must know the Romans in those days, they were very short. They were in average about 150 centimeters. And the Germans in those days, they were in average about 170 centimeters. And of course, there are always some people who are even bigger than that. I have a friend and she is 180 centimeter. And probably it was such a woman. She was so tall to him, so huge. And this woman was not thin and shy and tiny. That woman was big, with big breasts, big shoulders, big belly. And she talked with a loud voice, full of authority. And she said only 2 sentences. She only said, "Till here and no farther, your days are counted." But with those 2 sentences, this woman finished a war. With words only, she managed to do what all the warriors embraced could not do with their blood. That was authority. That was a very typical wise woman. She is my ancestor. She lived 2,000 years ago, but still we look up to her. Still we want to be like her. We want to be that strong. And she did whatever she did for her folks. She must have been so bold. This man, he was a warrior, and probably he did kill women before. It could have happened that he just takes his sword and stabs her, and that was it. She took that risk. She took that risk for her folks and to finish the war. She must have stood there behind the tree, raising, meditating, gathering all her powers together to find the right and perfect moment, and then come out and say her 2 sentences using the power of word. The power of word is something that wise women have. She used it to finish the war. Nowadays, we use the power of word, for instance, to heal or to counsel. We use it for other things, but we still have it. And we, in Germany, we follow that tradition of ancient wise women.